It is quiet, sleek, promising 20 different beverages, but does the Philips 5500 LatteGo really deliver on all those promises? Or is it just a clever marketing wrapped in a pretty package? Hi everyone, my name is Colin and you're watching Cafe Lista, the channel to learn everything about coffee and home espresso. As always, you know us, we are a small channel dedicated to coffee lovers, and here is my completely independent review. And if you want to know more about this machine, more details, the actual price, I put the link in the description, you can go have a look. Alright, now this is clear, let's get down to business. Let's start with the design and the build quality. As you might know, the Philips 5500 LatteGo is part of the Philips new generation of machine. This is the replacement of the 5400, and by the way, if you want to know the difference between those two machines, I'll put a link right there. First important point, it keeps the same dimension as the previous one. It is pretty compact for a machine that delivers that much. Here we have also what makes Philips really strong, so we have a front access to the 1.8 liter 61 ounces water reservoir. We can also access the coffee ground beans same, so everything is doing by the front. So this is a real advantage compared to some machine where you have to access things from the back on the side, for example. Here you can place it under a cabinet, no problem. Keep in mind that you will need a little bit of space here to put the coffee beans on the coffee hopper. Now let's have a look at the build quality. As you might expect, as you might know, we have a finish that is mostly plastic. We have a nice little chrome-plated touch right there around the screen, and we have the drip tray that is stainless steel. It is clean, it's neat, it's practical, but yes, it's still plastic. Don't expect anything with a lot of metal. This is not a high-end machine, though it is the high-end range for Philips. But it's quite of a nice machine. The bean hopper offers the same 275 gram, 10 ounces of coffee with the aroma seal lid that's supposed to preserve freshness, and we'll see that later. There's been a lot of work on that. The LatteGo system, one of this machine and Philips' unique features. This is the tube-free milk carafe that contains 260 milliliter, so I think around 9 ounces capacity. So it's not something you would really put in the fridge, and we will talk about that in detail. But it's something really important on this machine, and that works pretty well. Now, if we look closely at the interface and the features of the Philips 5500. On this machine, the interface is one of the strong points of the Philips 5500. We have a screen, it's color screen TFT, so this is not a touch screen, but compared to the entry-level models, the 3300 for example, that works with the LED or icons. Here, everything is clear and intuitive. Navigation with the pictograms is well thought out, so again, it's not a touch screen, you will have to touch those little buttons here on the side, but it works quite well. The machine offers 20 different beverages, the highest number in the Philips range. So, what do you have exactly? First, we have the 6 black coffees, classic espresso, the coffee, long coffee, americano, cafe crema, the espresso lungo and the ristretto. We also have the 6 milk-based coffee, of course, the cappuccino, latte macchiato, cafe latte, the flat white, and we can, of course, ask the machine for froth milk. But what sets this machine apart is that we have the option for 8 iced coffee, iced cappuccino, iced espresso, but there is also a particularity here, and we'll talk about that a little bit more after. Something interesting, the system also allows you to customize your beverages. So we have 5 intensity levels, different setup for temperature, and of course the coffee milk volume in the cup. We have again the option for the extra shot, and we will see that it's quite useful. This machine has also something new. So we have the same 4 user profiles, each with one color, blue, green, red and yellow I think, plus a guest profile. But how does it work exactly, and what's the difference, what is new here? So you select your profile, then you will adjust your beverages for your liking. You will change the intensity, the volume. Then the machine will save the specific setting for each type of beverages. So you won't have a favorite list where you can go choose that, but sort of a preset for each drink. The machine will remember that depending on the profile. And if you want to learn the best settings for the machine, because yes, they're automatic machine, but the coffee will be much better if you know how to adjust and get the proper settings. I've created a free guide. It's in the description, you can go have a look. Now let's look at the performance of the machine and the coffee quality. So if we look more on the technical performance, I put the Philips 5500 through a whole battery of tests to give you precise numbers. And I'm sure what you're wondering is this machine really that silent? Because this is one of the big and strong marketing arguments on Philips. This machine is supposed to be, I think, 40% quieter than the previous one. Is it? I measured everything and I'll let you hear it that now. So yes, the grinder noise is approximately around 59-60 decibels, a few peaks, which is indeed much quieter than the market average and much quieter than the 5400. This is a real plus if you're making coffee early in the morning without wanting to wake up the whole house. As I mentioned before, there's been some work on the lid finish here and the seal, which again makes a huge difference. Here you can hear the grinder without the lid. So we have a peak around 71 decibels. This is quite unpleasant sound, and this is actually the sound that the previous model was making. Now for the pump, well, it's still pretty quiet. It didn't really change that much. We have a peak at 58 decibels. It remains average. Something new here and interesting, the heating time. The machine has a quick start technology. What does that mean? So there is no warm-up, there is no rinsing cycle. The machine turns on directly and then heats up in 20-25 seconds before the beverages, before each drink. This makes this machine one of the fastest machines to start, to keep going, so we're probably saving maybe a minute here, but still something good to know. The machine doesn't really get that hot, that warm, even after 20 minutes. Now let's talk about the coffee quality. This is, of course, when things get interesting. And the 5500 uses the same 100% ceramic grinder, 12 grind settings. Does that really make a difference in the cup? Honestly, not that much. In practice here, the espresso is correct, but I found that the coffee lacked a little bit of intensity and body, especially compared to some other machine or some other grinder. I measure the TDS, total dissolved solid. It gives us percentage for the extraction, and usually I'm between 4.5 and 5.5% of extraction, which is a little bit below of what we would expect for a more full-bodied espresso on a bean-to-cup machine. Usually it's of course lower. To give you an idea, on a proper espresso machine like the one I have behind me, we're between 10 and 12%. To compensate for this, Philips added the same extra shot function, which allows you to add a shot of espresso after each coffee, and I have been using that quite a lot on this machine. This is effective, especially if you lower the amount of coffee in your cup. Now, in terms of temperature, we reach almost 176 degrees Fahrenheit, 80 degrees Celsius for the espresso, depending on the setting, which is pretty good. Your coffee is warm, no problem here. Still, I would warm up the cup, especially for the first coffee. If you're still with me and if you appreciate this video, that would really help us if you leave a like, if you subscribe, of course, if you want. As I said, we are a really small and independent channel, and we're on YouTube. That could really help us to grow and make more of this type of video. Thank you. And stay tuned. I'm also preparing a video on how to get the best espresso, the best settings on the Philips 5500. Now, we've seen the coffee. How about the LatteGo system? How does it work? Does it make good drinks, good cappuccino? And I'll tell you right away, this is the easiest and fastest milk system on the market. How does that work? As you can see, extremely easy to remove or to put. This is a two-part tube-free system that uses a cyclonic frothing technology. So concretely, the milk is drawn from the container, mixed with air at high speed in the cyclonic chamber, then poured into the cup. It is fast, it is efficient. Now, of course, the huge advantage of this system, it's easy cleaning. 10 seconds, you rinse it, good to go. You can put it in the dishwasher once in a while. Still, you will have to do some deep rinse cycle every week, for example, but this is clearly the fastest and the easiest system. Everything is removable, so no more tubes that clogged and could develop mold, because you can clean it properly. They also did something here on the lid. I used to have a problem with the lid from the other version. This one can clip here, and it stays a little bit more. It's not perfect, but better than the other one. Now, regarding the foam quality and the temperature, the milk reaches approximately 167 and 171 degrees Fahrenheit, so close to 80 degrees Celsius, which is again pretty good, it's pretty warm. Now if we look closely at the texture, it is consistent, but it is quite airy and foamy. We have pretty big bubbles here, so you won't get the velvety microfoam of a traditional steam wand, of course, or a more advanced system. And here again, it is the trade-off. We have absolute simplicity versus a bit less fineness in the texture. And for the noise level of the LatteGo system, we are again around 60 decibels, so this is not really loud. Let's talk about the cold iced beverages here, because it's important. So despite the 8 iced recipe offered, the machine simply uses hot coffee. So the coffee is not as hot as a normal espresso, I measured it, but still, the coffee comes out at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Celsius, instead of the 80. So what will happen? It will dilute and it will melt the ice cube you put in the cup. Contrary to other brand or other machine for the cold extraction, the machine here I think uses the exact same circuits. That's why the water comes out not as hot, but still hot. So we are not on the true cold extraction here. It could be okay for drinks in the summer, but you have to understand and know those limitations. Let's talk about the maintenance, the cost of use now. How does that work? So for daily maintenance, the Philips 5500 is pretty simple. The coffee ground beans can hold up to 12 pucks before needed to be emptied. Don't forget to empty it regularly. As I mentioned, the LatteGo system cleans extremely fast, few seconds. Don't put it usually in the fridge. The machine will have an automatic rinse cycle when it's shut down, not at the beginning. And something interesting, the brew group is removable, it is easily accessible, you just have to remove it. You rinse it under clean water every 1-2 weeks, depending on your use. And yes, you have to put grease on it every 2 to 4 months. It's not that difficult, but something also you have to know and you have to remember. For descaling, this is the most important things on the machine. The machine will alert you when it's necessary. It will take around 30 to 40 minutes. Again, nothing really that complicated. Be mindful to use filter water. Either use the AquaClean filter or a filtered water anyway, but that's really, really important. So who is this Philips 5500 for? Well, I think it could be a machine for you if your absolute priority is the ease of maintenance and simplicity of use, especially with the LatteGo system. If you're a family, if you need several profiles, and if you want something, as I mentioned, that is really easy to use, that makes decent drinks, that's again, pretty good choice. Of course, if you're sensitive to noise, the silent brew technology is really an appreciable plus in daily use. It works great. Now, maybe this machine is not for you if you're an iced coffee lover. As we saw, it works, but it's not the best, it has some limitation. If you're looking for the machine that makes the best espresso, the most intense extraction, again, this machine has some limitation that we need to be aware of. So final verdict, what do I think about the Philips 5500? Well, I think for me, it's a machine that clearly prioritizes user comfort, ease of maintenance, ease of use. This is for me a machine that is really aimed at family. It's like a perfect family coffee machine. It's aimed at those who want a decent coffee without complex options and hassles. But it comes with some trade-off that you need to be aware of. And what about you? I'm curious to know, what do you think about this machine? Would you prioritize the quality of the drink, or would you prioritize the simplicity and the ease of use? You can tell me that in the comments. I read and reply to, again, every comment. If you're still with me and if you liked this video, I'm pretty sure you will love the one that's here. And I advise you, of course, to watch it. Again, if you have any questions, you can tell me that in the comments down below. As usual on Cafe Lista, see you soon. I hope you have a good day. Ciao.